there at the Co-op, on the 15th there's going to be a demonstration, or I guess people are just saying they're walking. Is that basically they're just assembling to go to the Reichstag, as I understand it? And actually, I've been involved in filming at the London Occupy situation at St. Paul's Cathedral, which is adjacent to the financial district. And I'm working on a film. It's called Master of My Own Words. And originally, the idea was to, and still is to some extent, to document the work of spoken word artists in London and in that particular area, and their performances, and talk to them and get their ideas on their art, what they're saying, and what's going on in the world. And while doing that, I was there in August, and I had occasion to go down to St. Paul's Cathedral and talk to people and actually interview people, and I found that these people were very articulate and very passionate about their ideas and what they wanted and why they were there, and I found a lot of different, even talked to people who were just passing by, and I was very impressed with people's interests, people who just came down there for the first time just to check it out and see what it was all about, not trusting the mainstream media. So they took a look-see themselves, and people who were for and against, and just the whole dynamic of what was going down, what was going on in the Occupy movement there in London, and it's still going on as we speak right now. They haven't moved, and they have established a presence, and people are trying to maintain this presence until hell freezes over, I guess. So it's also interesting to see what's going on here in the Reichshauptstadt, to witness, this movement that's sweeping the planet, coming to the world stage, in even potentially even a bigger way than heretofore, So the Occupy movement, it means many things to many people, Certainly for the powers that be, it's a threat, because you have the people who now are saying they're no longer going to remain docile, and afraid to voice their opinion. I mean, this whole question of the war on terror, created an atmosphere of fear, among a lot of people. People were reluctant to speak out against, injustice, speak out against Guantanamo. In fact, President Obama promised, as part of his, his platform was to get rid of Guantanamo, but it still exists. People are still locked up there, imprisoned there, and being tortured there. President Obama signed some executive law or order to sweep away all the rights that people had under habeas corpus, and right to a speedy trial, a right to know your accusers, all of these things, just been wiped away, So those are some of the things that are being pointed to, along with, the economic collapse and what it means to the entire world, how they've essentially destroyed the environment, how we are thinking about the survival of humanity, in the short term and in the long term, There are a lot of issues out here that people are addressing in this Occupy movement. And the question of war, the question of unemployment, the question of people just being able to take care of humanity with medical care and education, a future. We have a large percentage of the population in the world, they go to bed hungry every night. They'll never see a doctor, They might not live to be 20, and the reason for that is that they're undernourished, or they're involved in conflicts, They're the victims of a worldwide system of exploitation and domination, you see. And this Occupy movement has within it, the expression of discontent with the current situation, and that people are not going to take it anymore. They're not going to tolerate it, and they're at the very least going to stand up and say, hey, what's going on? Shit has to change. Yeah, I'm both here as a filmmaker and actually as a participant. Hopefully, what I'm doing will help to, as far as the film is concerned, will help to, shed, light on what's really going on here and what people are saying and what's really happening. As a supporter, as a participant, I think it's important to also make a statement, about just by being here, not just as an observer, with my camera, because of the fact that I think that people like myself, Vietnam veterans, definitely can add their support, lend their support to this, and and really come at it from a perspective that has been too long ignored. The Vietnam War was wrong, and the same people who instigated that, who carried that on, are still around today. Even here in Germany, we call it the over-dimensional aircraft carrier. It's just, that's what the purpose it has served here in Germany. The United States military has just used this as the rear base, if you will, to make strikes all over the world. From the end of the Second World War up until today. Secret missions and missions known to us all. So it's important to be able to expose that. And myself being a member of the Stop the War Brigade and the VVAW, with Vietnam Veterans Against the War, Anti-Imperialists, it's important to lend my experience, and the experience of other soldiers from that era, in terms of to the analysis of what's going on right now. And along with that, being in the anti-war movement and also organizing soldiers to refuse, resist, and rebel, and linking up with other anti-war movements around the world, it's important to be here, to be here with people from all over the world, literally, because someone told me that over 100 nationalities living here in Berlin, even at the Kultur, the Carnival de Kulturen. So I think it was like 132 different nationalities were represented. So literally people from all over the world are being represented here, and also their problems. And so what is unfolding in Tunisia or in Egypt or in Oakland, California, or in London, definitely strikes a nerve here in Berlin. And so this is a place to be, one of the places to be, I guess, on the 15th, and it's a few other places here in Germany where things are happening, big things and probably some small things too that we don't even know are being planned, but Frankfurt is one, and Berlin is another, and Dusseldorf, and where's the other city?
I think in Munich too.
In Munich, in Munich, so and even the politicians, they're prophesizing hard times ahead. They never say what that means, you know what I mean? It's just a code word, a buzzword. Get ready for the worst, and people are sensing that, and it's important, at this particular point that they, in solidarity with other movements around the world, just come out and make a statement, and start to move forward, start to act on what's wrong in this world. I think it's very important. I'm looking forward to being part of this, on Sunday, and hope to bring some friends, to help support this. If my experience with what I saw, like in London, interviewing people, is concerned, then we have some potential, And there are people out there. It was interesting to talk to the people who were coming to the Occupy site in front of St. Paul's Cathedral, who came there to investigate for themselves, to talk to people, and those people seem to be the people who were looking for answers. There are a lot of people out here who are looking for answers and who have the motivation to go out and seek it, if there's something there for them to grasp onto. And I think that this Occupy movement has given people the opportunity to congregate, to come together, and it also has smoked out those people who didn't have anywhere to go, and that's a pretty interesting phenomenon.
Okay, great.